Hello everyone, my name is Maria Shandorova and I am responsible for product development at Inphinity. And one of our products is Inphinity Flow, the visualization that has been developed to visualize processes in the first place, but we have identified that it will be very useful also to use it for navigation. In this Technical Tuesday video, I will show you how to use it for navigation inside the Qlik application. The technical definition of Infinity Flow is the same as in all previous videos about Infinity Flow. So the whole definition comes from a data model and is done and defined in the properties panel. So the first choice, naturally, is to have the data information about available sheets as well as descriptions somewhere in my data model and use it as a reference to a specific field. In this case, and in this data model, there are two tables, navigation and navigation lines, that contain all information about the sheet and their usage. However, when I see that there is some typo I want to change or I want to modify the text, name, tooltip, or anything else, I need to go to a script, update it in my table definition or in my data storage if I load this data from somewhere else, and reload the app to see my updates within Infinity Flow. In applications where this reload is only a few seconds, it's okay to wait for it. But there are much bigger applications you very often use for production purposes, and to load the whole app only because there was a typo in a text is something you maybe don't want. So let me show you how it can be solved. The trick is to utilize definition by expression. So I don't need to have a specific field in my data model storing information about the description for these steps, but I can define an expression. And as you can see, I use the step identifier, recruitment, performance, search, overview, and hierarchy together with this duo of functions, pick match, to have my descriptions defined here in expression editor. What's also used here is this trick, and this specific character wraps the text and create a new row in a description, as you will see right now. So whenever there is a typo or I want to do any changes in this specific explanations and descriptions, the only thing I need to do is to change the measure here without any reload of the app. And right now I can delete this field from my data model to do the cleaning after myself. If for some reasons you really need to minimize number of tables in your data model, then there is another thing you can do. If I don't want, I don't need to have these navigation lines as a standalone table that says to me where the line should start and where the line should end. Especially for navigation, it's just a linear flow from one sheet to another one. Therefore, I can delete this table from my data model, use, let's say, a step number 1, 2, 3, no, 4, and 5. Load the data again. And right now I need to change the definition of lines because these fields aren't here in my data model anymore. Okay, one more thing before that is that my node ID is now going to be step number So the reference in this line's definition will make sense. And right now I can define these lines as the line starting in step number and ending in step number +1. And if I really am a person focused on details, as I am, I can add also this condition that do that only if step number is less than 5 and the result is still the same. It's what I want. How to use this custom design nodes was the content of the previous video. So a very quick reminder, in appearance section, here there is a new section from the release Infinity Flow 2.0 that's called additional node types. And I can define my custom node types here in this pop-up editor directly in my QlikSense application. The last thing that's needed to truly have a navigation panel here is to add the navigation action naturally. And these settings is defined in the properties panel in the section actions, where I have available the full list of Qlik native actions as well as navigation, plus 2 custom defined by ourselves, alert and question. But right now, let's focus on navigation within a QlikSense app. Therefore, we need to choose Go to a sheet. And for this specific action, you need to define the sheet. And as is described here, it can be sheet name, sheet ID, or 1 for the next one and -1 for previous one. Since I already have sheet names defined in my data model, it's pretty easy because I can say use what's inside the field sheet. And right now, if I click on internal employee search, I'm redirected to this very specific sheet in my application. The same with the corporate hierarchy and every other sheet I have here. If you have the flow of the app defined like this, you can visualize it not only on the very first sheet in the application, but on every single one. It's only up to you whether it makes sense in the specific application or not for users to see the full context of the process. And right now I can say that if my step number is 1, that's the sheet recruitment, then highlight this specific node in the flow, otherwise please do not. And the same we can do on every other sheet in the application. Naturally, the best is if it's used in the same place on the sheet, but I haven't prepared the application for that right now. And consider this like a presentation of what can be done. We can also change the orientation to vertical and have this overview on this position on the sheet. Or maybe in this overview, we really need to save the place for other objects. So we can hide all this description and have only the main overview of the sheet. The last thing I want to show you is also linked to this navigation inside the Qlik app. And it's something I highly recommend for you to consider if you don't want to have this overview on every single sheet. Let me create a new Infinity Flow that will contain only one node ID. Let's call it activity as a node type right now. The label will go to the previous sheet. We will add the action go to the previous sheet, go to a sheet, -1. And to make it visually appealing, we can disable navigation, warnings, and create a new custom node type design. That's definitely not what I wanted. It's a reflex, you know. Here in additional node types, I can add new node type, previous, with previous PNG icon name and a specific color. And what I need to say is that this specific node type is previous instead of activity. As you can see, I can use Infinity Flow as a button without any lines or any associations, but with your own custom design and your own icon you can use here. The same can be done with the next button or anything else coming to your mind. Thank you very much for watching the video. I really hope you find it useful and hear you in 2 weeks. Until then, enjoy Flow.